Right, moving on to number 11, we're being asked to add a lookup field or lookup column to the product table. And opening the product table real quickly, I'm in datasheet view here. This is the column that we're going to add the lookup field to, or the lookup column to. And this is the company ID. And right now, as it stands, the user would have to hand type a company ID. And whenever you have your user typing something by hand, that opens the door to typos and other types of human error. So ideally, we should be able to put a lookup column or lookup field on this particular field so that the user can choose the company ID from a list. So if you have the option to make your user type less when using the database, then you should always take it. So let's go to the design here. And this is the field in question, the company ID. So we are going to pull down the data type list box or combo box here and choose lookup wizard. So this is a wizard. Oh, I guess I have to delete the relationship that it's in. So I'll click OK, and I'll close up this table, and I'll go to the relationships, and I guess I have to delete that relationship. So that's a step that you may have to take when you're working on your homework assignment. Okay, so we'll close that up. Back to the product table. Trying to launch the lookup wizard. Okay, so again, you have to be careful with instructions, follow them to the letter. The first choice is what we want. We're going to be looking up company names and IDs from the company table. So the first option where it says I want the lookup field to get values from another table or query would be the one to take. Okay, now which table or query should provide the values for the lookup field? And that would be the company table, which is selected by default here. So we'll go ahead and click next. Now it says which fields of the company table contain the values you want included in your lookup field. So I think we were told company name in the instructions as well as company ID in that order. And then we'll do next. And I think we're supposed to sort ascending by the company name. Okay, again, I'm just following along with the instructions in the book. Okay, and then I believe we're told not to hide the key column, so if I uncheck that, it comes back. Now, it does say in these instructions, make sure that the company name column is the leftmost column. So what I have to do is move it over. First, I'm going to select it so it's highlighted, and then I'm going to let go of the mouse, take my finger off of the mouse for a second, and then drag and drop it to the left of company ID. So that can be a little tricky. Also, we're told to size the columns, and at that point it's like you're in Microsoft Excel. You can just double click at the border there, and it should spring open or spring closed according to the size of the contents within that field. So let's go ahead and click next. Okay, and let's be careful. We are storing, it's asking which of these two columns or fields are you going to store the values of, and looking at the instructions, it says the company ID. Company ID. Okay, and then let's see. Okay, you know, at the, I don't know, off the top of my head, I'm not seeing the instructions on what to name this, so let's just go with the default name there, and we'll click Finish, and say yes. Okay, and now basically we're done. If I go into Datasheet View, it looks like nothing happened, but we are in, we do have our lookup column. That makes it a lot easier for the user to store or enter values rather than typing them in by hand. Okay, so we'll close that up. And number 12, we are being asked to add an input mask to the company table. So I'll open this in Design View. This is fairly easy once you get the hang of it. basically we're told to put an input mask on the phone number. Looking at the data sheet, this is what the phone numbers look like. Those don't look so great, right? So I'll go to the phone field here, and then down below, do you see me down here? There's this input mask property in the field properties, and once you get your cursor in here, you'll see this button all the way to the right. So go ahead and click on that. And here's the deal. There are default input masks, like for phone numbers and zip codes and whatnot. Just go ahead and grab the default. Okay. And that'll give you an input mask. Here, that looks better than what we had, but it's still not what we're being asked to do. The book wants something with like not parentheses and the dash, but everything's separated with periods. So that's what we'll do. And so we'll have to doctor this up a little bit. And I think I'll zoom on this so we can see better. And basically, whenever you see a slash in front of a character, that's called a literal display character. So by putting the slash in front of this paren, for example, that paren is literally going to be displayed and the user will see it. Okay? So if we don't want that there, we can just wipe it out. All right? And then this also, putting a character in quotes also makes it a literal display character. So whatever's in the quotes is literally going to be displayed and the user will see it. So here would be a good place to put the first period that separates the area code from the first 3 digits of the phone number. I think that's called the exchange, this middle part of the phone number. And then we want to separate this part from the extension, the last 4 digits of the phone number. And as I said, the backslash or the quotes create a literal display character. So I'll just use the backslash that's there and put the period there. And that's it. You can ignore the rest of it. And we'll click OK. We'll save the table. And in Datasheet View, this is the phone number that we were asked to create with the input mask. Okay, so let's see, number 13, we're adding a memo field to the company table, and it's going to be called company comments. This is really kind of an easy task. We're making it a memo type, and a memo type of field will allow you to store large blocks of text. Okay, like if you have to store a whole paragraph or something like that, then you can use a memo field. One thing I'll say is you should use the memo field sparingly, only if you absolutely need it. And even then, there are other alternatives that you could explore before adding that memo field. The reason I say use it sparingly is it takes up quite a bit of memory. So if you're adding memo fields to your database indiscriminately, you're really padding the database and making it much larger than it needs to be. So, you know, like I said, there are other alternatives. You can maybe add a hyperlink to a document that contains the text that you want to link to, and other things beyond that as well. So just know what a memo field is and how to add one, but like I said, it's something that you should think through before you go adding that to your table. All right, so I guess what's left here is we're setting the caption property, and I think we're supposed to say company comments with a space. And then, let's see, there's something else here. I think for the text format, we're being asked to do rich text. So that's down here, the text format property of the memo field. Okay, oh, the second part of this task, we're asked to go into the data sheet and type in a city and make it bold and italicized. I'll skip that. I think you can handle that on your own. In the next video, I'd like to add a couple of tasks to this exercise that are not actually there in the book, but they're important tasks dealing with field validation rules and table validation rules. So those will be in the next video.